Spinpasta, written by none other than the Shadow Lioness. Thank you so much for giving us permission to read this story, Shadow Lioness. This is in the Spinpasta wiki in case any one of you wants to read this. Oh, and don't forget to check out the Shadow Lioness's channel if you haven't already. Her content is really nice. Without further ado, everybody, let's get reading. Oh, and before we begin, I just want to let you know that I was a little bummed after that Spinpasta creepypasta, but let's hope that this story is actually better. Now, without further ado, let's get reading. Being a kid in the early 2000s, I've grown up with shows from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and even early 2000s. I was born in 1997, and I had a great childhood. I lived in Tallahassee, in Florida, and still living there as of today. I have happened to be a 22-year-old woman who would watch movies whenever I have nothing else to do. On top of that, I happen to be a big fan of Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I've grown up watching them as a kid. So did my parents and my older brother, who is now 24 years old, who was born in 1995. The Hanna-Barbera cartoons, everyone in my family, including myself, had grown up with the shows they have. The shows we all watched are The Flintstones, The Jetsons, Yogi Bear, etc. But one of our most favorite shows is Scooby Doo. My family and I have watched most of Scooby Doo shows and movies since the 70s to 2010. The reason of that being is the fact that Scooby Doo shows and movies now seen these days to 2019 is just not the same as we all remembered. The best Scooby Doo movie that I would watch as many times as I like is Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. The movie is about Scooby and the gang all going to Moonscar Island, that is in Louisiana, to be filled with zombies and other crazy things happening while the gang stay there. I happened to see an early version of Scooby Doo on Zombie Island back in 2017, and all happened in April, a month after my 20th birthday. It was April 10th when I was in my car driving around on the street in Tallahassee, Florida. I was looking for an apartment for my brother, who will be renting for when he was going to college. Excuse me. He will be with the other college students, and everything was included in what comes in the rent and all that. As I was driving, I spotted a coffee shop, so I decided to stop and grab a cup of coffee. As I got out of my car and walked inside the coffee shop, I grabbed a cup of coffee and a donut. As I was heading back to my car, I looked to my left to see a man around my age who parked his car. He noticed me as I looked at him. He looked at me with a smile on his face as he spoke. "Well, isn't today a nice day?" he asked me. "Yeah," I replied nervously. "How are you today?" I asked him. "Really good. What brings you here today?" the man asked me. "My name is Otis, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. Excuse me." "I see. What brings you here, Otis?" I asked Otis, as he locked his car and then walked over to me. "To visit my family that I have down here. And I stopped here to get a coffee," Otis replied. Soon we got into a conversation about things we liked. When I mentioned that I liked Scooby Doo, we talked more into details about what Scooby Doo movies were my favorite. I mentioned Zombie Island to him. He looked at me and replied that it was his favorite movie too. I tried to get it on DVD from Amazon, but when I got the DVD it didn't work. I used to have the movie on VHS until my VCR broke down. I said to Otis, and then I also mentioned that I was looking for the movie everywhere, but I couldn't find it anywhere. "Well, have you tried the iTunes store on your phone?" Otis asked me. "I do have an iPhone 7 at this time, and I don't use iTunes that much," I replied. "But I'm willing to try," Otis gave me an iTunes card, which had $25 on it. iTunes has a lot of good stuff. Google Play isn't my favorite for some reason. Otis replied as I opened my car. Otis looked at me with a smile. Search up Scooby Doo on Zombie Island when you get home, he said to me. You should be able to find it there. When I got back to my house, my brother David greeted me home. He gave me a hug, and I returned the hug to him. Found any luck? David asked me. Yeah, there's an apartment that is available for rent for college students, I replied to my brother. I booked you to see the landlord for next week, and the time is at 10 a.m. All right, thanks, Belle, David replied to me as I had my coffee and went to my bedroom. It was around 5 p.m., and my parents were working at this time, so I went to my bedroom and sat down on my bed. I went to the iTunes store on my phone, redeemed my iTunes store credit, which I had $30 in total since I saved up $5. From that time, I used the iTunes store. I then searched up Scooby Doo on Zombie Island and waited for a minute for the search results. When I found the Scooby Doo on Zombie Island movie on the list, I noticed below the movie I was looking for, there was a copy of Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. I looked at it and it said Scooby Doo on Zombie Island 1997. Wait, what? There must have been a mix-up, or something else rather weird. Scooby Doo on Zombie Island came out in 1998, not 1997. I had to do some research on my laptop about the movie. When I researched the movie on Google, I went to Scooby Doo on Zombie Island Wikipedia page for some info on the movie. I then found out that the movie was being made around 1997 and early in 1998, and then it was released on September 22nd, 1998. I decided that I would look at the reviews of this 1997 version of the movie before getting the movie. One of the reviews I saw, they rated 1 out of 5 stars. One of the comments said, very dark and too violent for kids. Another comment said, why did this version of the movie being more scarier than the 1998 version of it? I ignored the comments, thinking that there would be more comments, but there were only 2 comments. But that's what it is. That was it. Sorry. I downloaded the movie, and I plugged in my earbuds on my phone. As I looked at the screen, to my surprise, the cover was a bit different. The cover had Scooby, Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, and Fred. It also had Lena, Simone, and Jack all on the cover, along with some zombies in the background. After the movie was finished downloading, I played the movie and it started with the intro of the movie. The intro starts off with the gang solving a mystery, as they usually do in every Scooby-Doo movie, with the theme song playing in the background. When the gang solve their mystery as usual, the screen then transitions to Daphne sitting in front of the talk show. And that's how we solved the mystery of the Moat Monster, one of our most frightening mysteries. Everyone clapped for Daphne as the talk show host cringed at the story. No wonder why you became a reporter, a talk show host said to Daphne. That Moat Monster almost sliced you up into a pizza. And then we wouldn't have Coast to Coast with Daphne Blake. Going on 2nd season, I might add. I never miss it. Thanks, Chris. Daphne smiled at the talk show host. Why I started this career was the fact that the monsters we solved, they always turned out to be bad guys wearing a costume. And a little boring, eh? Chris asked. Daphne giggled. No kidding. In fact, that's why the gang went their separate ways, Daphne replied, except for Fred and me. With that being said, the scene then shows Shaggy and Scooby watching Daphne on TV with her own show. They both sighed in sadness that the gang went their own ways. So Shaggy and Scooby continued their job until they walked into a room full of food. The next scene shows Velma working at a bookstore when she sighed at the TV showing Daphne and her show. The phone rang, so she answered it. And this is where we'll stop for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 of Amy Rose Reads Scooby Doo on Zombie Island 1997 version.